Have you ever wondered if you draft like we do? Now's your time to find out. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hope all is well out there in YouTube land. As you can see, I'm sitting here in the studio. Got the green screen behind me. No image to put on it right now. I'm just sitting here thinking, let's do a mock draft. I mean, it's about that time, right? It's almost time to pop, lock, and mock it. Season's getting closer and closer. Can't get here soon enough. And there's no better way to do a mock draft than right here on fantasypros.com. If you haven't done it before, be sure to check it out. I'll put a link to it down in the description. Great website to go through, do a quick mock draft, get yourself a little bit of an idea what to expect and what's happening out there trend-wise for ADPs. So I'm going to walk you guys through it. We're just going to do a random position draft. If you have something that you already know that's coming, or you already know when your draft is, or you can't figure out who to choose from a certain pick, hit me up down below. We'll help you out. Looking forward to draft season. Any questions you guys got, be sure to hit me up. So let's go ahead and get started with it right here. If you haven't used this before, there it is, fantasypros.com. Here's the homepage. We're going to be going to the NFL, obviously, going down to mock drafts. Don't worry about all the lobbies and all those other grades. Those are all my mock drafts that I've done in the past. So here we go. You go on start a mock draft. And it was kind of cool. I mean, if you sign up for a free login here, nothing you have to pay for, no premium upgrades. You can kind of do a configuration for a draft that you want to do, kind of make it a little bit similar to what you do for your home league. So we're going to be doing a half-point PPR for the upcoming 2018 season, a snake-style draft. This one, let's just do 10 teams. Cool little feature. You can hit the randomize button. See what we get. And perfect. Number 5, right there in the middle. And give us a good estimate of where everybody's going. You can also kind of build your rosters down here. I mean, however your leagues usually are, you can change it to whatever you want. We're just going to go with 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex play, which is a wide receiver, running back, or tight end, along with a defense, a kicker because they're people too, and 6 bench spots. If you have a league already loaded into here, I mean, you can do your keepers if you wanted to. It's a great tool. Be sure you guys check it out. After that, just hit start draft, and it will load. All right, so one of the cool things, or a few of the cool things about this setup they got here, the draft log over here is going to tell you who was picked and in what position. So you can see that Le'Veon, Antonio, Gurley, and Zeke were all drafted 1 through 4. And you can see over here on the right-hand side your roster, what you're drafting, along with what round and what pick number you are. There is no clock. You don't have to pick by a certain amount. You can go as slow or as fast as you want to. If you scroll down here, though, here's a list of all the players. I always just click the hide drafted players because if they're drafted, I can't take them anyway, so I don't need to see their names. So we'll scroll back up here. Now, the top 4 are going to be the ones that the experts suggest that you take based off of their current ADPs. Now, I don't always follow that. I mean, sometimes they pick who I want, but I'm not going to just pick whoever's at the top of the list. That's no fun. So if you've seen my other videos, you know that I love going heavy RB. I am very much a running back taker early. And being that Zeke, Gurley, and Bell are all gone, to me it's kind of a no-brainer. David Johnson on an offense in Arizona that I think is a little underrated. I think they're kind of being slept on a little bit. Yeah, they don't have much of an offensive line, but they didn't 2 years ago either. They were ranked like 26th 2 years ago. The dude put up over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. So he's a beast. He's going to be, productive in the pass game and the run game. Heavily relied on in Arizona. I am for sure going David Johnson. Number 5 overall. That was quick. So as you guys can see, it kind of just flies through the next set of picks, brings it right back to you. And once again, here we go. Right on the top here, there are 4 suggestions. Not following the suggestions. Not high in Kareem Hunt this year. They have 46 running backs on the roster in Kansas City. He's not going to get that huge workload and just have him break down again. So to me, totally staying away from Kareem Hunt. Kind of interesting. A.J. Green still there. Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams even. All are decent picks, but when I say I like running backs early, I mean I like running backs, as in plural. I almost always go running back, just because there's so much value late at wide receiver. I don't need to worry about it early. One thing I don't like about wide receivers is they're so much tied to their quarterback and their quarterback play. I mean, what happens if A.J. Green now? What happens if Andy Dalton gets hurt week 1? Now you kind of lost A.J. Green, and I don't really care for that. So I don't really go too high on receivers unless all the big-name running backs are off the board. I mean, if all 4 of those guys had been gone at number 5, I would have probably taken one of the top receivers. But being that he was there, I took him. Dalvin Cook, love Dalvin Cook. Absolutely love Dalvin Cook. So if they're not in the suggested draft picks, all you got to do is click their name. They pop up. Right now it says it's his ECR, which is Expert Consensus Ranking, is 19th overall. Earliest he's being drafted is at 9. The highest he's being drafted is 32. I mean, you can kind of use that if you want to, but you're trying to build an entire team. You can't go off of just these numbers alone. But for me, Dalvin Cook is going to get a huge workload. I don't expect Latavius Murray to do a whole lot. I mean, Dalvin Cook has looked great here in OTAs. Should see a ton of volume, goal line carries, and a good offense. Give me some Dalvin Cook going RB. Back again. Now that we have 2 running backs, I mean, I'll be totally transparent with you guys. There's times where I've gone RB, just depending who's left on the board. If somebody was passed over, I've done it before. I'm not overly high on Devontae Freeman or Christian McCaffrey. I do love some Jordan Howard. So we'll come back to him here in a second. He may be an option, and that'd be our 3rd running back. We would be stacked at the carry position for sure. We'd be getting 60 touches alone from our 3 running backs. Can't really replace that. Wide receiver, Adam Thielen. I'm not huge on taking too many people from the same team. So being that we've already gotten Dalvin Cook, I'm not going to take Adam Thielen. T.Y. Hilton, not unless I know if Andrew Luck's playing. Diggs on Minnesota. Alshon Jeffrey, hit and miss. I mean, they got so many different options there in Philly. He may turn out and he may not. But the next guy on the list is interesting, Larry Fitzgerald. Larry doesn't get a whole lot of love because he's 62 years old and has been playing in the desert forever. But the guy's consistent. Maybe his best year as a pro was last year. I think he had like 109 catches. He gets an upgrade at quarterback this year, whether it seems to be Bradford or Rosen. It's probably going to be Bradford until week 2. And then when he dies against the Rams, Rosen probably comes in. But it doesn't matter. Either one of them are an upgrade over Drew Stanton or an injured Carson Palmer. So, I mean, that's a plus. For me, no way I'm going tight end early. Only person I would take early is Gronk, and that's if he fell to me probably around this spot, which is probably not going to happen. He actually went with the 3rd pick in the 1st round. You can see over here. So, Kelsey, new quarterback, new offensive coordinator, tons of other options in that offense. Kelsey takes a step back. I do like Ertz, but he's not worth reaching for right now. So to me, the 2 options I got are going to be Jordan Howard or Larry Fitzgerald. Being that we have 2 pretty decent running backs already, and there's some guys on this list coming up that we may be able to slide in there for our 3rd one, I'm going to go with Larry Fitzgerald as a consistent wide receiver for us. And it worked out perfectly because we were going between Jordan Howard and Larry Fitzgerald up here. Look who's still on the top of the list down here. Jordan Howard. And there's also another name down here that we like too, Joe Mixon. Huge breakout candidate. Could be nice this year. He does have the same bye week as David Johnson. I pay attention to bye weeks, but I don't, solely rely on them. If I can have 14 wins out of the season and I lose 1 game because everybody was on bye, I'm 14-1. So I don't really care too much about that. I do have Larry on a week 9 bye also. Whatever, though. I don't care. I'm going to go with Jordan Howard just because I don't trust Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati, and a lot of us are calling for Joe Mixon to break out, which means that's perfect opportunity for Marvin Lewis to piss us off and not use him. So I'm going Jordan Howard as our flex play. I mean, David Johnson, Dalvin Cook, and Jordan Howard are ridiculous. All right, so now that we've got 3 running backs, quarterback is not somebody that I take too early. We've already talked about holding off on tight end. Let's see what we got down here for wide receivers. There's a few names here on the top that I like. Demaryius Thomas, huge upgrade for Demaryius Thomas. He actually gets a quarterback that likes to throw the ball this year with Case Keenum. They did just draft, Cortland Sutton, Deshaun Hamilton, still have Emmanuel Sanders. I kind of expect Emmanuel to be shocked at some point this year. Deshaun Hamilton is a younger version of Emmanuel Sanders, and they don't need all 4 of these guys. Demaryius Thomas, though, he's the consistent one. He's the big body target. He's going to get the red zone looks. Case Keenum's going to be, wanting to throw the ball. They have a decent offensive line. Their defense is not the greatest in Denver. Their pass rush is going to be ridiculous, but outside of that, it's not what it was in the past. So I'm going to go with Demaryius Thomas. I like Demaryius Thomas for his upside. He can catch you close to about 90 balls right there with Fitzgerald. Since we went heavy running back, this gives us 2 solid wide receivers. Not going to be overly flashy with huge numbers, but they're going to be solid. All right, well, we're still not going tight end, but we could at this point if we kind of wanted to. We're getting into the point to where it looks like the auto draft is taking a few of these tight ends off the board, and we don't want to be left with like a total scrub at tight end. I mean, I know there's not a whole lot of options at such a weak position. Still a lot of good quarterbacks available, so I'm not worried about quarterback yet. So being we got David, Dalvin, Larry, Demaryius, and Jordan Howard. I don't necessarily want to reach for any of these receivers yet. Greg Olsen, though, is intriguing. I mean, that's Cam Newton's favorite target. All the receivers outside of Devin Funchess in Carolina are like 5'1", so they're all short. A lot of red zones should be going to Greg Olsen. Plus, like I said, it's Cam's favorite target. He should get plenty of opportunities down the field. Top 5 tight end potential. And at this point of the draft, we're picking him 56th overall, so we're not, going way overboard here. Early, he's being taken as 51. So we're a little on the early side, but if we don't take a tight end now, we may get like a Delanie Walker or Kyle Rudolph, but after that, it's a shot in the dark. I do like Trey Burton, but if we can get somebody who's solidified their spot as a tight end 1, let's take him. All right, so now we are 7th round, and now is where I start to look at quarterback. I'm not necessarily going to take one, but I'm going to start looking at it. So we got Kirk Cousins, and then you go down to Stafford, Big Ben, Jimmy G. I'm a huge Jimmy G fan. Love some Jimmy G. I talk about Jimmy G a lot on this show. But do I want to go with Kirk Cousins? There's a potential. I mean, if I went with Kirk Cousins, that's a pretty solid offense. I could pair him up with Dalvin. All of Minnesota's rushing and passing yards I pretty much get, which is a plus. I mean, especially if Dalvin's catching passes out of the backfield. Matthew Stafford, I have a tendency to think that Detroit runs a little bit more this year. So Stafford's numbers may take a slight hit. Pittsburgh, I'm avoiding like they have Ebola because to me it kind of seems like there's some cancer cells in that locker room and it's spilleth over the cuppeth. So I'm avoiding Pittsburgh. Jimmy G I like. It's a little too early for Jimmy G though. You know what? So heck, let's be a little bold. Let's go with Kirk Cousins. I like Kirk Cousins. Good guy. Welcome to the squad. And now we've reached the 8th round, which is you start going for strictly upside potential. And there's some names here still. I mean, there's a couple names I like on this list. If you're looking running back side, I'm not totally against Jay Ajayi. I mean, I was all aboard the Dre train last year, and I'm not saying I'm not on it this year. I don't think he is an RB1 anymore. But for our team, he'd be our RB4. I mean, he'd be our 4th running back. And if he pans out, has a great year in Philly, which is another great offense. I mean, they still got Corey Clement there, and I can't have another video without saying Wendell Smallwood. But, I mean, Jay Ajayi, he could turn out. You also got Lamar Miller. I mean, he could be improved this year with Deshaun Watson. a defense on the other side of the ball in Houston, which is going to limit other teams' offenses. They may have more leads in the second half. They may lean on the run a little bit more. I kind of like both of those guys for our number 4, just as an upside alone. So let's see what we got here. Experts don't like him, but I don't care. I mean, this is our number 4 guy we're talking about. And Jay Ajayi has proved he could be an RB1 before. And what am I really losing? He's our 4th. If he pans out, great. If he doesn't, oh well. Jay Ajayi. Right, let's look back at receiver now. Cooper Kupp. I like Cooper Kupp. I don't expect huge numbers from him, but he should have a solid year. Nope. No Emmanuel Sanders. Already got Demaryius Thomas. Jamison Crowder is intriguing. With Alex Smith in town now, I mean, Alex Smith, used to lock on to Tyreek Hill quite a bit. This is the Washington version of Tyreek Hill, I guess you could say. It's possible that he sees a huge workload. Chris Hogan, Will Fuller. Will Fuller's intriguing. I mean, with Deshaun Watson coming back and DeAndre Hopkins on the opposite side, Will Fuller's going to see a lot of man-to-man coverage. And we've got Marquise Goodwin. I mean, there's still some decent. Sterling Shepard. Somebody else that's decent. Let's put them all up here so we can get a look at them. Will Fuller, Jamison Crowder. Crowder's earliest he's been picked is 46. That's a little high. Will Fuller has that huge touchdown upside. Jamison Crowder may be a little bit more consistent, may get a little bit more targets, though. Being that we went heavy RB, I'm kind of looking for, that boom or bust. And to me, Will Fuller is that guy. Jamison Crowder's solid, but he's not that boom player. Let's go Will Fuller. All right. Now what do we got? We're getting into Jimmy G territory. I'm not telling everybody to go out there and draft 2 quarterbacks. It really depends on your league and how the other people are drafting. If everybody's taking 1 quarterback, it's deep enough this year you can just pick somebody up if you need it. If a lot of people are taking quarterbacks and they're taking multiple quarterbacks, depending on what's left, you may want to take a second. You never know what's going to happen. Ask the Aaron Rodgers owners last year. It could ruin your whole season. So there's still a few quarterbacks available that I would take. Jimmy G's there. Phillip Rivers is, as consistent as they get. Matt Ryan's got weapons all over the place, and do not sleep on Dak Prescott. I know it's just Allen Hurns, Michael Gallup, and Cole Beasley with Rico Gathers, but I'm telling you, even though it doesn't sound good on paper, it may turn out better on Sundays. So don't sleep on Dak Prescott. Also got Delanie Walker still here. If we're worried about a tight end, Greg Olson's had injury issues in the past. Delanie Walker is a solid tight end. He's most people's tight end 1. Somebody we can get right now. There's nobody overly pressing available that we'd have to take in front of him. Like I said, we're all taking upside and helping our team out. So let's go ahead and grab Delanie Walker as a little bit of Greg Olson insurance. Now, when we come back, I can't help it. My thoughts are saying go Jimmy G. This is the time to go Jimmy G, which I know is not the smartest. I'm telling y'all, it's not the smartest thing to do with the other names on the board, but I really like Jimmy G this year. I'm going to try to get him on as many of my squads as I can get. And let's be real, everybody else on this list is all hit and miss. We don't need any more tight ends. Benjamin, Doxson, D-Jax, Rashard Matthews, D.D. Westbrook. None of these guys are overly exciting for this round anyway. Running back, Jamal Williams. Don't even know if it's him or Aaron Jones yet. Tariq Cohen is interesting only because we have Jordan Howard. Down to Foreman, Bilal Powell. I like Nick Chubb, but Carlos Hyde's still in town. There's nobody overly pressing there either. So you know what? I'm going to get myself some insurance, and I'm going to get it now. I'm going to go Jimmy G. And you can kind of see, I don't overload one position to the point to where I don't have options on the bench. You look on the bench, we got 1 of each position already. So now we're pretty much just going down the line of saying, all right, what's available? What's a good value? Who's a good boom or bust play? I mean, that's all you can do at this point. Look for high upside. Calvin Ridley, huge upside. Wasn't overly high on him during the draft because I thought he'd go somewhere and be their number one. But now that he's the number two opposite of Julio Jones, that's intriguing. You know, that's some upside that we can look at. Running back wise, honestly, the only one that I even see here that I would touch, possibly James White, maybe, or Corey Clement as my handcuff to Ajayi, but Ajayi is my number 4, so I really don't need to handcuff my number 4 running back. I liked LeGarrette Blount before the draft. Kerryon Johnson kind of ruined that. So right now, upside-wise, I'm going Calvin Ridley. He could pan out. Huge upside. All right, don't ever take more than 2 quarterbacks, just so you know. Just ignore that altogether. Not even going to touch it. Only other option we got here for me is I'm going another running back to give us 5 total for our team. Another option you guys can do it. And you know what? Let's do it anyway. This is what we're going to do. Typically, last 2 rounds, everybody goes defense, special teams, and kickers. That's normal. Let's go around early. Let's take our defense around early and get the top 1. Let's go with the Jags defense. They got all pros at almost every position. Going Jacksonville. Now, had there been somebody available at the running back or wide receiver position that was a hands down, you got to take him, I would have taken him there. But being that there was nobody on this list that's going to help our team, you know, week 1, we're all going upside anyway. Right now, second to last pick, now we're looking for some insurance. We either go insurance with Latavius Murray. That's a handcuff I would take, being that we're reliant on Dalvin Cook. We do have Jay Ajayi on the bench, but if Jay Ajayi doesn't turn out and Dalvin Cook, you know, has some type of a relapse and gets hurt again, Latavius Murray had a great season for them last year, proving that he could do it, and he could probably do it again. It is a half-point PPR, so James White is intriguing, being that he's the pass-catching running back there in New England. However, with the addition of Sonny Michael or Sonny Michel or whatever you want to call him, who knows? I mean, you never know there. So we're just going to be smart this time. Since we took our defense a little early, let's be a little smart. Let's draft the handcuff to Dalvin Cook, make sure we got him. And now we have some insurance. And the last round's a kicker. Who cares? Whatever kicker's on the top. Will Lutz of New Orleans, welcome to the squad. And after I click this, it's going to finish up the draft, and it's going to give us a score. Don't buy into the score too much. A lot of it has to do with the percentages, and if we didn't take who they wanted us to at the top, it spits out a score that they don't like. But it's not bad. 83 out of 100. It's a B score. Cousins, David Johnson, Dalvin Cook, Larry Fitzgerald, Demaryius Thomas, Greg Olsen, Jordan Howard, Jay Ajayi, Will Fuller, Delanie Walker, Jimmy G, Calvin Ridley, and Latavius Murray. I don't know too many people that would be unhappy with that overall lineup. Solid squad, especially half-point PPR. You got it covered. And you got a ton of workhorse running backs. It's not a bad squad. But yeah, like I said, go check it out. If you haven't been to fantasypros.com, like I said, I'll link it down below. Go through it. Have fun with it. Do as many as you want to. I mean, put it from every position. If you guys want to see me do mock drafts from other positions outside of 5, let me know. I can do a video for each position if there's people out there that want it. I'm all for helping you guys out. If you have any questions, hit me up below. If I did something that you would have done differently, comment below. I mean, this wasn't set in stone. This is not my holy grail of how you should draft fantasy, lineups. But it kind of gives you an idea of how I go through it, and maybe you do it differently. And I'm not saying you don't do it better than I do. So hit me up down below in the comment section. Everybody can put their 2 cents in. That'd be cool. Really appreciate it. You guys helped me pass about 30 minutes. Awesome. Have fun with it. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.